The straps on one of our bicycle bags broke recently, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to fix torn or ripped straps from a bag. So let's go. In order to fix a repair like this, you just need a few simple materials. Scissors, a lighter, a heavy-duty needle with a large opening for your thread, and some heavy-duty thread. This is a sashiko thread, so it's not embroidery floss, but it's stronger than just regular thread. And if you can't find something like this, just ask at your local craft store what is the most heavy-duty thread that they have available. And you're also going to need a thimble. Now, I will say that if you have a sewing machine, this is going to be a lot easier. You won't need the heavy-duty needle and the thimble. So I will show you both ways, by hand or with the sewing machine. But it is easier with a sewing machine, but you definitely don't need to have one. Okay, so the first step to fixing straps that are all torn apart like this one here is to cut away the strap that's starting to fall apart. So you can see this strap has a tear in the middle here. Well, I don't know how well you can see that actually, but it's starting to rip down the middle. So I want to cut away until I get to a part of the strap that is fully intact. So this part of the strap that doesn't show any signs of damage. So we're definitely losing a little bit of strap, but that's okay. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end. I'm going to just cut away all of the damaged part of the strap. Just like that. Now this webbing is usually made of a synthetic, so you can recycle little bits like this with fabric recyclers. You cannot compost this, but it can be recycled. So if you have access to fabric recycling, add it to your fabric recycling. Okay, once we are down to the non-damaged sections of the strap, I'm going to get the lighter and I'm going to just melt the edge of the strap. Okay, there is my little flame, and I'm just going to run my flame along the edge just for a moment until I see a little bit of melting action happening there. And then I'll repeat that on this side. So let's see if I can get this going again. Okay, and I'm just melting the edge just a little bit until it gets kind of melty. And now that both of the ends have been melted, and it was kind of hard for you to see. If it was my choice, they wouldn't be black straps, but there they are. That's what we got. So now they're both melted. I want to overlap the two strap ends about a ½ inch with each other. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add a clip right there. Okay, so they are overlapped about ½ inch. And now I'm just going to put a clip right there on one side just to kind of hold it in place. So here's a slightly better view for you. I've just overlapped the strap a little bit here. And next I am going to get my needle and thread. So I am going to thread the end of my thread into the needle. And I'm actually going to bring the two ends of the thread together and tie a knot here so that it's nice and secure. Usually I tie a double knot or a triple knot. I think in this case a double knot is fine. And now you're going to want to get a thimble on your finger because you're sewing through some thick material. It's not super easy to do. And depending on where the strap is on your bag or your gear, you can put the knot on the back side of the strap. It doesn't really matter in this case, but I'm just going to start my knot. Let's see. I'm going to have my knot on this side, and I'm just going to push my needle through both layers of strap. Again, you're going to really want a thimble for this. Okay, so now that the needle is through, I am going to actually do a back stitch. So that means I am going to sew it back towards the edge. And, oh, I want my thimble for sure. And I'm just going to push it through a little bit. And then I'm going to actually flip it over and do that same thing where I'm actually pushing the needle from the thread from the head. And so you'll want to protect your work surface so that it doesn't get any little dents in it from the needle. And hopefully your webbing isn't this insanely difficult to sew through. This is tough. Okay, I finally got my needle back through to the other side. And so I'm doing a back stitch here. So there's my first stitch. And what I want to do now is come from the back. So my needle is here at the back. I'm going to come back to the front, and I'm going to go 1 stitch length ahead of that first stitch. So I'm going to get my needle to come out right about here from the back. So I'm just going to start it here, and hopefully it comes out more or less. Whoops, that's too far over. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see it's coming out about 1 stitch length ahead, and I'm just going to pull it all the way through, and then I'm going to sew back to where my first stitch ends. So I'm kind of making the stitches touch one another, just going to be like right next to each other. Let's get my thimble, get this started, and then flip it over and push it through again. Okay, so I'm back to the back. I've done my second stitch, and I'm just going to keep doing that, coming from the back to the front and sewing 1 stitch length ahead each time, and then going back to where the last stitch ended. Okay, so I have made it all the way across the strap with 1 row of stitches, and I would actually recommend doing this a couple more times if you're doing this by hand. And when you're finished with all of your stitches, you just want to flip to the back of your strap and tie a knot by going under a stitch, under a nearby stitch on the back, so that you make a loop with your thread. Then you're going to go into the loop with your needle. Let's get that out of the way. And pull so that the loop turns into a knot. And then I usually do that at least 1 more time. Under a stitch, make a little loop, go into the loop, and then pull nice and tight. And then you can trim all of the loose threads. And again, if you're doing this by hand, I would definitely do a couple more rows of stitches. But now I'm going to show you how to do this on a sewing machine. Okay, I'm at my machine here, and I just have a universal needle on my machine. But if you were worried, you could obviously put a heavy-duty needle on your machine, but I think I'm going to be fine. And obviously, you only need to do one method, so either by hand or with the machine. You do not need to do both, but I'm just going to leave those stitches in place, and I'm just going to sew right across both straps with 4 rows of stitches. Super simple, just going to go forward. My machine is fighting it a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to go back, okay, and then forward. And I'm just going to do that 2 more times, and I'll be done. All right. All I have to do now is just trim off those loose threads from the sewing machine, like so. And the strap is fixed. I hope this video helps you I really hope this tutorial helps you get your gear back in action. And if you have more bags or clothes that need to be repaired, I am linking to a playlist underneath this video full of other tutorials that I've made to help you keep your things in use and out of the landfill.